to good friends, the ones we hold dear, the ones who will tell us what we need to hear, the ones who love us, right or wrong, and to all those good friends that give you this song.
Well, hello good friends, and welcome back to The Last Walk, Remember When, with your host, Ron Baumbach. And we're going back in time again to the fun times. So, get up off that easy chair, walk over to your fridge, open up that ice box, reach way in the back for a can of 7-Up. Get a nice tall glass, pop that lid off, pour it in so it hit a bubbling fuzz, reach up into your cupboard, get a nice, refreshing Tweaky. Open it up, sit back in your easy chair, turn on your lava lamp, close your eyes, get ready, the last walk is back.
Life is too short, we get only one turn. With luck we find beauty, but we sometimes get burned. But if you've had a true friend, or perhaps love, you've experienced the peace of heaven above.
Remember going back in time when you tried to ride a bike? Remember what you went through with the training wheels as you rode this bicycle through on your street, on the sidewalk only in the beginning, and mom and dad would run alongside you, holding on, then you would finally get into the street, and they run along, and they hold on to the bike, and you had the training wheels. Then once dad would take off one training wheel, so you only had one on one side and it would wobble, and they run along with you, and they let go, and you go wobbly back and forth, you're afraid you're going to fall, then you fall back, go back on the right side where the training wheel was still on, and you keep on pedaling, and dad would say, all right, now it's time. Let's take off both of them. So you took off both training wheels, and you went down, and your dad held on to the seat, and your mom did, someone did, and they're running alongside of you. As you ride the bike, you pedal, and suddenly you realize there's no one holding on to the bike. You're driving it all by yourself. What great moments. Recently, one of our grandchild wanted to learn how to ride a bike. So we said, we can do that in 15 minutes. Luckily, she had been practicing. So we got her on the training wheel, got her on the bike, took off the wheels, and off she went. And that's how it all begins.
Woo, good job. That's okay, that's good.
Turn right. Turn right.
Oh, Vanessa's not in Julia and everyone in this.
Excellent. Woo, right good, she's got it.
Remember your days of riding bicycles? Remember your days of learning how to ride? Remember your days of teaching someone how to ride a bike? They always say you never forget how to ride a bike, and that's probably quite true. For remember the day you learned how to ride the bike. Now, my memories of riding bicycles as a kid are many. We used to ride our bike to school, come back for lunch, ride our bike back to school again. Many times did the no hands deal, where you would hold on to the steering wheel or the handlebars. Then you would hold on one hand and no hands. I don't know how we made it around turns and curves, but we did it. The roads didn't seem to have as many potholes as they have nowadays. But my fondest memory are me and my friend Steve and Ann. We would ride our bikes on our sidewalk on Houston Avenue, come out from his house on his driveway, and ride down on front of the other homes in the block. We would pretend we were firemen like our dads and rush to a fire. And we would jump off our bikes into the bushes on I think it was the Shoeback's front lawn. And we would ride down the bike and just all of a sudden jump off over the bushes on the grass, tumble over and dash off to solve the latest fire issue in our town. Hop on a bike again and ride back again. Those were the days of solving the issues of our youth. It was fun times. What's your favorite memories of riding a bike?
To good friends, the ones we hold dear, the ones who will tell us what we need to hear, the ones who love us, right or wrong, and to all those good friends that give you this song.
Remember falling off the bike and scraping your knee and getting those scabs on there, but you always got back up on the bike again, right? You always got back up. You may have ruined your pants. Back home, you always had holes in your knees and wherever else they may have been on the body. But we always got back up on the bike and kept on riding, and we never forgot how to ride the bike. Now, if you were lucky enough, you had those bells on your bike. The bells on the front handlebars, you could tingle along and make that sound as you cruise through the streets of your hometown. But the big thing was when you got that big horn on your front handlebar and you let it rip. And while it may have sounded like a little tinkle, you really thought it sounded like this. But the best thing ever was getting those old baseball cards out, putting them on the spokes with your mom's clothespins, and riding through the town on your motorbike. Now, back in the day, everybody wanted the Schwinn. The Schwinn was the bike of the day, with the 3 speeds on the front handlebar, and there was no brakes. The old bikes had brakes. You put your back foot on and you put the brake on. They were the cruiser bikes. And most of us had the small bike, I think it was 18-inch, then 22-inch, 24-inch, then you may get 26, 28-inch. And the big thing was if you got a Schwinn, you were in your glory. Now, we didn't really buy new bikes. Our dad found some place in Nassau County Police Auction, but once or twice a year we go down to Nassau County Police Department on a Saturday morning and we would bid in an auction on bicycles. Somehow they got these bikes somewhere, somehow, and for a quarter, 50 cents, for $1, every year or so we get a new bike. New for us. It wasn't brand new, but it was a new bike in our garage, a new bike for us to ride on. But we never got the Schwinn. We always got the cruisers, the ones with the handlebar, the basket in the front, because you needed something sturdy to put that basket on to deliver your newspapers. 80 or 100 newspapers to flip out onto your neighbor's lawn. Now, how much do you know about the history of bicycles? Thanks to the fine folks at Wikipedia, a great organization online that always requests money, and it's good to donate to them because they do a great job on giving us information we never know we needed. It's right there in Wikipedia. But basically, they tell us that the earliest form of a bicycle was from a sketch from a student of Leonardo da Vinci, a gentleman named Gian Giacomo Caprati, in 1534. 1534, 500 years ago almost, this fella designed a sketch for what would become a bicycle. But no one caught up on it until the year 1817. 200 years ago, happy birthday bicycles, happy birthday bikes, they were invented by a guy named Baron Karl von Drais, a gentleman, a civil servant to the Grand Duke of Baden in Germany. So this buddy, Baron Karl von Drais, is the guy who's credited 200 years ago with inventing the first usable bicycle. They didn't call it a bike, they called it a draisine, after the guy's name, Drais, or draisine in French. The press called it. So this guy patented the design. He patented it in 1818. Was the first commercially successful two-wheeled, steerable, human-propelled machine, also called a velocipede, and nicknamed hobby horse or a dandy horse. Thank you, Wikipedia, for the history of what we know as the bicycle. Now, in the 1820s to 1850s, a couple of guys invented three-wheelers and four-wheel bicycles. Remember when you were a kid, you had a three-wheeler, the tricycle? Well, they came around in 1820, 1850. What did the kids do before this happened? How did they play? How did they get around? Horse and buggies? Give me a break. What did they do to get around and visit their friends? Hop on that wheel with bicycle and jingle along and check along and do your thing. Now, in the 1870s, along came the really high wheel bicycle. You know, the real big wheel on the front and the tiny wheel on the back? Well, in the late 1870s, 1880s, a Frenchman named Eugene Mayer is regarded as the father of the high bicycle, the really big one. And then a guy named James Starley came along in Coventry, England, who's called the father of the British cycling industry. James Stanley perfected it, got solid rubber tires, ball bearings, seal frames, and basically he made the bike much better. So Stanley's a guy who got things done. So the British were making these bikes. There was a thing going on, the Franco-Prussian War in France. They weren't too big on making bikes then. They started importing the bikes from Britain. And the Americans, a guy named Frank Weston in Boston, he started importing bikes in 1877, 1878 from England. So the British were making the bikes and the Americans started bringing them in. So it wasn't until 1878, 1879, 1880 when we started bringing bikes into the USA. Now you roll the tape to 1885, and a fellow named John Kemp Starley, who was James's nephew, he invented something called the safety bicycle. It had significant caster, equal-sized wheels, and a chain drive to the rear wheel, which probably meant it had brakes. What a great invention to make. It meant you could stop the thing. You weren't rolling down hills, you could actually stop it probably with the chain, the rear chain. Now, from a sheer patriotic standpoint, good old America got into the act. On October 10th, 1889, an African-American inventor named Isaac R. Johnson lodged his patent for a one and only folding bicycle, the first one that could basically fold the bicycle up. And the pattern is still used today in the 21st century bicycles that fold up. Our man, Isaac R. Johnson's the guy who did this, put a stamp on the act for the folding bicycle. You have cars coming into effect with Henry Ford, you have all these vehicles on the road, and you have bicycles, and it led to roadsters and cruisers. What did you have as a kid? A roadster or a cruiser? Or maybe you had a Schwinn. Now the Schwinn, we spoke about the Schwinn all during the show, was founded by a German-born mechanical engineer named Ignaz Schwinn, who was born in 1860 and passed away in Chicago in 1945. Now, in 1895, with the financial backing of a friend, a German-American named Adolf Frederick William Arnold, a meatpacker, he founded Arnold Schwinn and Company. And Chicago became the center of bicycle production in the USA. More than 30 companies were there making bicycles for our country. That's where it all began in America. It started in Boston, moved to Chicago, and the bikes rode on the pastures of your lives. Enjoy.
Life is too short, we get only one turn. With luck we find beauty, but we sometimes get burned. But if you've had a true friend, or perhaps love, you've experienced the peace of heaven above.
You've been listening to The Last Walk, Remember When, with your host, Ron Baumbach. We've been going back in time to the bicycle times of your life. The three-wheelers, the two-wheelers, the tricycles, the Schwinns, the cruisers, and the roadsters. A special thanks to the great folks at Wikipedia for the wonderful help on helping us learn so much more about bicycles, the history, the past, and the present. Special thanks to my good friend Paul Cassone for the song Here's to Good Friends, which you've been hearing throughout the broadcast. A great song written, sung, and composed by Paul. And an incredible thanks to my great friend Mike, my college roommate, from his studios in his basement in the state of Tennessee, for making our voice and production sound so much better. The book, The Last Walk on Our Block, which is the basis for this wonderful show, is available on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com. It's in Nook, print, and Kindle versions. In addition, Ron's available for presentations to talk to your group about life, the people, places, and things from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. If you're interested, reach out and we'll do our best to be there. Have a